Hey, Lori. Hi, everybody. Lori, GLP1 Journey in Review, having an impromptu live. Sorry about the no notification, but I've had such a busy schedule. I just wanted to get this in there. So I want to say hi to all my peeps, see how everybody's doing. So far on my journey, I've lost 62 pounds. I want to tell you about some of the stuff coming up. We have coming out tomorrow an interview with Neil from My Life's Toil in the UK, where you can find out some of the differences between Monjero in the United States and Monjero in the UK. And trust me, there are a lot of differences. We'll find out pricing, how to get it there, just, so we can compare the differences and the cost changes and so forth. So, we make sure you watch that. That's coming out tomorrow. And coming up, I've got some more interesting stuff on everybody's journey, and I'm answering some top questions. I have a top question video coming out, and that's what's coming up in the future. So let's dive in with some of this news. So apparently, the Novo Nordisk has forgotten to file a $250 form for their exclusivity right to Ozempic in Canada. And I guess they forgot about this for a while. So I believe next year Canada is going to be able to sell generic Ozempic, commonly known as semaglutide. So that'll be very interesting. I'm sure somebody, if not several people, have gotten fired from Novo Nordisk for this mistake. But this could really help us out because they're they're making it easier for us to get medications from Canada. And if they have a generic and it's a lot cheaper, you know, we can get it from Canada. And I'm sure now that Eli Lilly has become the number one GLP-1 company, overtook Ozempic, that they will want to compete, and that might bring their prices down, along with news that retatrutide, the next form of GLP-1, the next generation, is on a fast track, and it may come out 5 months sooner than they thought. So, we could expecting that just around the corner. And who knows? Again, the more competition that we have, the better. And the latest on, I'm sorry, I apologize. I always have problems with this word, or forglipron. When it comes out, rumors have it that it is going to be $100 for a month. That's pretty affordable, much better than the $1,000 that the Ozempic and Monjero costs. And they do have it now with Lilly Direct. I believe it's $4.99, and I think the Ozempic through Novo Nordisk is $3.99. Don't quote me on these prices. I apologize if they're wrong. Like I said, this is a pretty promptu live, so I don't have all of my notes. So we shall see. Hopefully, another big thing is that the Cardiology Association is really pushing, and they're recommending that GLP-1 medications be a drug of choice for cardiac disease, which means that the more things that it gets approved for, the easier it's going to be, or the more that insurance is going to have to cover it. So, that could be pretty big right there. So there's a lot of big things happening in the near future. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining us. Uh, as always, my number one fan and my wife. I was going to say my favorite wife, but she's my only wife, and she is my favorite person. So thanks for tuning in, Carol. So, there's some big news coming out with with all these GLP-1s, and these are all possibly leading to better prices and more accessibility. Now, as far as the lawsuits, as we know, Ozempic is officially not in shortage anymore. So expecting the same type of thing that happened with the tirzepatide. Although so far, no problems getting it through any of these major telehealth companies. Again, if you're going to stockpile, which might not be a bad idea, please try to use one of the bigger ones. And if you're using some of these smaller ones, use a credit card that you can easily get a refund from, because I would hate to see anybody get ripped off. Please stay away from, the gray market. Again, also the powdered stuff that you have to reconstitute, because that's really easy to screw up. And I wouldn't want anybody overdosing or underdosing. So just, please, please, please be very careful. And remember, if you are stockpiling, uh, whether it be from one telehealth company or from several, that different pharmacies have different concentrations. For example, my dosage on Orderly is 75 units, where the same thing from Empower is 88 units. So you wouldn't want to screw that up, because, again, keep the labels on the medication. I know some of mine don't have it on the little vial, but if they don't, I keep it in the little bag that it came on that has the directions. For some reason, you don't have the bag, get a little thing and write it on the bottle and with a little marker, or take a little post-it or something and tape it on there so that it's easily seen. Maybe not a bad idea to date the bottle that you started using on, just so that you could, in case for some reason you accidentally had two vials going at the same time, you'll know which is older and which is newer. This is just advice that I'm giving. This is my opinion. If you have any questions, please check with the pharmacy that they use, or your healthcare provider or pharmacist, however you get the medication, because again, we do not want you overdosing or underdosing, because that could lead to some serious problems and bigger side effects and so forth. So I also wanted to give you a quick little update. I did a video, I think it came out last week, something on Chatgpt, and I kind of wanted to show it to you. So I kind of brought my phone in here. Let me get into Chatgpt, because this is kind of cool how it works. And again, I'm going to use my breakfast because I have a protein shake, and it's not a very common one. It's called Thrive by Lavelle, which you can get online. I just happen to really like it. I like the taste of it. There's other things that I like. I like they have a special delivery system of their pre and probiotics, a 3-part or 4-part system. They have several different kinds now. Not that I'm trying to sell it, not that I get anything from them, but I just wanted to tell you why I'm using them, especially in the Chat GPT. But let me see. I think the glare is going to be too much, but here's my Chat GPT, and I'm going to use the microphone. Can you please give me the nutritional value of Thrive by Lavelle protein shake? You could Google that. 8 ounces of Fairlife milk and 1 serving of collagen. So it just transferred what my speech to text, and now it's searching the Thrive by Lavelle. 1 packet, 35 grams, 116 calories, 15 protein, 9 carbs, 5 fiber, 2 fats, plus other vitamins, 2.2 of cholesterol. They used Fairlife 2%. I use fat-free, but I'll take it because I wasn't very specific. 120 calories, 13 grams of protein, 6 carbs, 6 sugars, which are mainly natural, collagen peptide, typical serving, 70 calories, 18 grams of protein, fat, and fiber content. Okay, then it gives me my, see it there, the total, which I'll read you because it's kind of hard to get that in the camera. See, summary, 306 calories, 46 grams of protein, which it says right on here, excellent for muscle recovery, 16 grams of sugar, 8 grams of fiber, which is moderate. Again, a little bit of saturated fat. I forgot to mention fat-free Fairlife milk, so that's the difference. Uh, and then it gives you some additional notes like this combo packs high protein punch, ideal for robust post workout or meal replacement shake. Calories are moderate for weight and maintenance. Sugar is low. Sodium is a bit elevated. If you're tracking macros, these are the key figures. And then right here, I'm going to now say, save this to my profile. And it's saved to my profile. And then like I could add my lunch and it's just, a no-brainer way for me to, of tracking because I don't like to track. The only time that I really do track, I do it once in a while just to make sure that what I think I'm eating is actually what I'm eating. And if I'm at a stall, which is kind of silly now because I'm in maintenance, which basically is living in a stall because I want to maintain. But when I was in a stall, I used to track. I didn't use ChatGPT at the time because I didn't know about it, or I would have. I um, use my Fitness Pal. I had a couple of others that I tried. That's seemed to work again because I wanted to keep myself honest, especially in a stall. And I wanted to make sure that, what I thought I was eating was actually the calorie input. And when I used a TE calculator, which you could use plenty of them online, and you put in your height and your weight, and it tells you like how many calories you need to stay even. There is a thing in there where you could put, if you exercise and it gives you calories. I find those not to be very accurate, so I usually don't even put that in there. I tend to just pretend that it doesn't exist and just, kind of make a mental note if I go 100 calories over and I've worked out that day, probably the same thing. Now, if the stall doesn't go away after a while, I may consider uh, I may consider putting in the exercise and checking the exercise. But I've noticed that it's not really very accurate. Even and I wear Aura Ring, Fitbit. I have my watch that calculates it, and they're all slightly different. What I use those for is if, for example, in a workout, it tells me that I burnt out, and I'm just making this number up, so don't take this number literally. Um, Okay. Sorry, I was just reading the comment. If it says that I'm burning 200 calories one workout and the next day I go work out again, and I think I worked out a lot more. And if it's saying I only burnt 180 calories, I probably didn't work out more. So, just to get a range, same thing to, 200 calories one time and 300 the next time. I'm like, oh, I know I worked out harder. So, that's basically what I use all these trackers for. um, Again, I'm still on the fence on the Fitbit. I really like it, but I have my Galaxy Watch, and that's a phone, and that's pretty much why I use it. This is not a phone, although I could still pick up phone calls, just in case I forget my phone at home. Like I can't even work because we have to have a auth, sorry, little speech problem here. Authenticated, well, you know the word. Uh, and it goes through the phone, but it'll also go through the watch just in case I do forget my phone. So I can authenticate. Thank you. Uh, Even through my watch. I don't think I've ever forgotten my phone at work. I think one time I did, and I got like 2 blocks, and there's a little thing on my car that says phone not connected. And I'm like, well, let me turn around. So I think chances that are pretty slim, but that's my reasoning. And I know it's kind of silly to watch looking things, and I'm probably going to give this one up. I think my wife might inherit it, but I think she likes her Fitbit. So I don't know. I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. So I'm doing an interview this week, which I'll probably put out next week. I'm going to try to do these for Monday. I was supposed to do an interview today, but once you know it, the Panthers won the Stanley Cup playoff, and I'm in South Florida, and the person I was going to interview is going to the parade. So, she said, "How about next Sunday?" Well, that's when I start my vacation, so hopefully we'll get to it. So there might be a little bag in there. I'm supposed to do one of my friends, but she's been super busy because her father is a little ill, and she's kind of mother's not handling it very well. She's not handling it very well. She works a lot, so we'll get around to that eventually. I have somebody else that I'm planning that I work with on interviewing. I just have to get together with him and pick a date. Um, I My brother has been taking Ozempic. I've been considering interviewing him. He's going to try tirzepatide because he just really does not like the side effects from the Ozempic. Not to say that he won't have any with the tirzepatide, but we'll see. So, I might interview him. I have two other content creators that have agreed. It's just a matter of getting our schedules straight. Plus, Lorraine from the Downsize said she'd do an interview, but they're on their cruise, I believe, takes off today or tomorrow. The Downsize cruise that is sponsored by Mochi. So then, she'll have to get home, get settled. So we'll find a date. She said we can do it sometime in July. So looking forward to interviewing her. Now, my interviews are a little bit different than her types of interviews. It's, yes, I have my questions, but I try to have it more like, we're just chatting with each other. And as you'll see with my interview with Neil tomorrow, like, we were talking about something and he started asking me questions, kind of just like we were chatting. And then I'm like, okay, let's kind of get back to the interview type of stuff. And I, put in some questions there. But, like I said, a little combination between chatting and interviewing and so forth. That's just kind of like my style, a little bit more than other people's style of interviewing. So let me know when you watch it, what you think of that style, or if I should just stick to questions. You could also comment in this live because I know the majority of people watch this afterwards. I think so far I've had like 14 people jump on. I think I've got 3 here now. Uh, Again, especially since it's an impromptu live, you know, that's just the way that I'll do it. I've reached out to Nick, who also has a fantastic channel, but she's also got, I believe it's an 8-year-old, and she's in California, and she's like, "Ooh, when I put them down to bed, that might be a good time." And that's 8, 9 o'clock their time, which would be about midnight my time. So we'll make it work somehow. It may take us a bit to get coordinated, but we'll do it. I think it's interesting to get some of these other creators' point of view on stuff and how they feel about some certain stuff. Hopefully, you all saw my interview with Allie from Fit Flavor Fun. It was a fun interview. I apologize for some of the coloring. You know, I was having some lighting problems. Right when she was coming on, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to ask her to reschedule. Let's just do it, and I'll look a little smurfy. What can I say? It's the content that's actually most important. And it's got a decent amount of views, and it's getting great hours and great people are watching it for long periods of time, so I'm happy about that. Again, hopefully you're going to like the interview series, and if any of you are interested in being interviewed, put it in any of the comments. You could email me at glp1journeyinreview@yahoo.com. We'd love to interview any of you. Also, if you have any comments or you just want to email me about anything, that is my email address. See if I could type it in here. Sorry, I'm not a fast typer. And I'm spelling it wrong. All right. So there's the email address. So any of you want to email me. I also commented on somebody's comments last week that they are the winner of the latest contest. So please look at the comments. And again, email me if you're the winner, and so I can send you your gift card. And I would love to give you that gift card. So check your comments. Usually YouTube gives you a notification, not too hard to find. And I keep everybody's name in there. I just don't want to have the same winner two times in a row. If for some reason I do pick the same person twice in a row, I'll pick somebody else, give them a gift card, and a week later, I'll give that gift card to the person that just won because I think that that's only fair. And I like to be fair. What can I say? So that's pretty much what's happening in the GLP-1 world. I know people are going on vacation. Again, I advise people to take their shot as planned. When we went on vacation last time, we lowered our dose. I think that may have been a mistake. I'm glad we at least took it. I think if we kept it the same, yes, we ate a little bit more bad stuff than we thought. During the day, we were pretty good. Most of it was at night. Again, like I said, I think it may have been a little bit less of that eating had we taken our regular shot. This time when we go away, we're going to take our shot as normal, or at least I am. I'm not going to speak for my wife because I think that that'll help. Uh, again, give yourself some grace. Moderation is the key. So, keep that in mind. Yes, we did eat our ice cream as usual, and we thought about having dessert. I don't think we really did have any dessert at any of the restaurants that we ate at, but I think we thought about it. So, again, I think I gained 3.5, 4 pounds. I forgot exactly what my wife gained, but she lost hers within a week. I lost mine. It took a week and a half. Uh, when I came back, I was on the fence and I decided that, I discussed it with one of the healthcare providers that I was going to split my dose of 7.5 and take 5 on my normal day. And then 4 days later, take the other 2.5. I did this for about 2 weeks, and I don't know if it's because I was eating so much more the week before or if it was actually the dose splitting, but I kind of was a little bit hungry at the beginning of the week. It wasn't as bad at the end of the week, but I went back to my regular dose because, there was a bit of a difference between taking the full dose and getting that full effect. And, yes, the last day or so, I'm a little bit hungry. The food noise doesn't really come back, but do notice I'm a little bit more hungry. I don't know if I didn't give it enough time. And like I said, I was eating a lot the 10 days before that we were on vacation. May have played a role in it. Uh, I didn't want to do 7.5 and then 2.5 because that would be increasing my dose. I didn't really want to do that. Uh, did think about it for a hot minute, but no, I didn't really want to do that. Will I possibly do that in the future? Maybe. I mean, again, I didn't gain weight, I didn't lose weight, which is what I want. It's just a matter of how I feel. Probably a little bit different since I am on maintenance, but that's. Sorry, I just want to get rid of this. Okay. All right. Will I try it again? There's a good possibility. I think like I said, if it towards the end of my shot week, if I'm getting more and more hungry, I might consider doing that again. Again, it's like up on the fence. Some people just absolutely swear by it. I like to give things a chance. I don't think I gave it a proper chance. I probably should have waited a couple weeks after my vacation. So, this is still a journey that I'm learning from, and that's why I'm talking to you people about it, because hopefully you can learn something from what I'm doing. I'm not sure if it's right or wrong, but again, we could all learn from it. Uh, Again, I want to also say that I have had no problem with the top um, providers, telehealth market providers of getting the compound. It doesn't mean we're not going to in the future. I know Orderly has this big plan, which is one reason why I'm sticking with Orderly along with Mochi. Fortunately, I haven't had any problems with Mochi, but I do know people have, and again, I use my Discover on there because that's very easy to dispute. And once you dispute a charge, that's it. You're gone as far as they're concerned. You can't log in. Your records are gone. I believe there is a way you could re-enroll if you ever wanted to, but if you're having problems with them, why would you want to? But Orderly is, pretty quick, a little bit more money, but they seem to have a good plan that may work as far as more check-ins, possibly providing you with a Bluetooth scale so that they also have access to it and better records, more questions like, are you tired, which would, let them put the B vitamins in there, or, nausea, maybe, something that they could put in for anti-nausea, that type of thing, a little bit more personalized. Don't know if it'll fly or not, but it sounds like a plan. They're investing in their own pharmacies, so they're thinking this is going to work. Again, I don't know with this whole thing with semaglutide generic in Canada in 2026 is going to make a play on any of that. Don't know. Only time will tell. I don't know if the new medications, when they come out, they're going to be top dog, and they're going to be the ones that are going to want to get 1,200 or 1,400 for. Is that going to bring the price of the Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, Ozempic down? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But this is why we're having these lives and all these talks and all this news coming out so that you could be informed and you can make your own decisions. You know, again, my channel really isn't the best for news. I mention this kind of stuff on the live because it is happening and you should know about it. I'm not huge on doing the news because a lot of times when it happens, I'm at work and can't really do anything till 13, 14 hours later. And by then it's kind of old news. And if you want news on the pen, the downsized, they're very good on news. And they have the time, something comes out, they'll either jump, at least downsize, they'll either jump in with the live or have it on their Monday news or do a special video on it and so forth. I've seen them do lives 4 times in one day because the news changes so much in this GLP-1 world. I mean, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, how the changes are and how much things are changing. It's totally different from when I started. When I first started, I didn't even know about compounding. I just heard that there was another way to get the medication, but I knew nothing about it. I'm like, oh, is somebody making this in the back of their garage and selling it, you know? And then when, one of the guys that I work with says, oh, no, I'm getting it from this, company in Tampa, and, he's also a part-time race car driver. And he's like, my whole pit is, using it. And, we're all fine. We've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months now. We've been losing weight. And that's when I checked into it. And that's how I started my journey on compounding. I didn't like the original company that I was using. Of course, I knew nothing about it. So, when it came, I was really excited. It came in pre-filled syringes with just like a little piece of tape that had the dose on it. It came warm with melted ice. When I called them and said, hey, I thought it was supposed to come cold, they're like, "Yeah, we're in Tampa, you're in South Florida, there's nothing going to be cold, and studies show it's fine," which, as of now, I'm finding that a little bit more true, but I think that it is their responsibility to make every attempt to get it, to us cold. Um, because that's what the guidance says. Yet, yes, there are studies now showing that it's okay if it comes warm, and it's, just as effective. But one, we didn't know that then, and you should still go by the guidance. You know, and when I kept asking them, and wanted to look into it a little bit further, I asked them what pharmacy they were using, and it was right away, oh, well, we're going to give you $50 off on your um, next order. And I'm like, oh, great. But what pharmacy are you using? And tell you what, we're going to FedEx it overnight for free. And then I kind of realized they're not going to tell me what pharmacy they're using. So yeah, that's life. And I kind of put in my last order because I needed to do some research as to what other company I could use that wasn't giving me this runaround. Uh, it worked just fine. And, I did lose the majority of weight on their medication. But like I said, if the guidance says they should make every attempt, and like I said, every other pharmacy that I've used for the compounding has gotten it to me cold. There was one that was, I'm not going to say cold, but it was pretty cool, passable. Again, it is South Florida, and again, it did get delayed because of some storms. I understand that. It wasn't warm. It was definitely somewhat of a refrigerated. Could have been a little cooler, probably, but it was acceptable. Um, so, that was my story, and I'm sticking to it. No, just kidding there. Um, let's see. Person, pink, swaying, hair, and yellow. Okay, Carol, I'm not quite sure what that means, but thank you. I think she's commenting that I got my lighting a little bit back to normal. I still have to tweak it up a little bit, and I don't look like a Smurf. So I'm happy because I didn't like being a Smurf. I mean, if you're a Smurf, please don't be offended. Nothing against Smurfs. I just didn't want to look like one, um, and that's that. So the pharmacy that or the telehealth company that I used after that, it was fine, and their medication came from, I believe it was Red Rock, and it came really cold. The only thing that I didn't like about them, and let me caveat to the first one, started getting very expensive. I mean, almost as expensive, it was like $700 for their 1 month supply, which I'm like, it was a little crazy for compounded. But anyhow, the only thing I didn't like about the second one is that if you needed a refill, you had to schedule a telehealth visit, which, being in the medical profession isn't a bad thing. It's just that I work so much in between their hours, it was a little bit of a hassle. And I started looking into it. And then I found, I think I went to Mochi after that, and they were a lot cheaper. And at the time, I don't recall what pharmacy they used, but it came cold. This is before Equita, Akita, however they're pronouncing it, or however they used to pronounce it, because it doesn't exist anymore. And one thing I did appreciate from Mochi is those little containers that they came in, that I still really haven't found a use for, but still working on that, because it just took up less space and less garbage. It's like when I get it from, I think it's Red Rock, it comes in a styro cooler, which could probably fit a 6-pack or sometimes even 12-pack of beer or soda, whatever in it, like 8 different ice packs in it, which again is fine. I understand that for keeping it cold, but it's such a big footprint, like at least when I get it from, I think name is drawing a blank from Orderly. I think it's Perfect RX. It comes in, a little bit bigger than a FedEx envelope because it does have the ice packs in it, but I appreciate the smaller footprint, and that was one thing I liked about Mochi is it was a small footprint. Um, Again, I'm going to use it when we go to Naples to bring over my trizepatide, although we don't really need something that big, but give it to my brother, see if he could figure out a use for it. Because I just don't like to waste, I mean, again, I haven't really found a use for it, but I'm sure there is one, and the people must have found it because I've actually seen them on eBay and so forth. So people are using it. Uh, he didn't say anything. Harold said, okay, well, maybe I'm reading wrong. Again, my apologies if I've gotten that wrong. A little hard to read some of the comments while you're trying to do a live, but so that is the latest on the GLP-1 news. I've given you an update on my progress. Still maintaining my weight. I think I've kind of lost 2 pounds, but that's normal because you're going to go up to, you're going to go down to 118. I kind of picked that as my goal weight because it made an even 60 pounds. In my mind, I was kind of thinking 120, but then I thought, yeah, let's do 118, make it an even 60 pounds. I got down to 116, occasionally 115, but then sometimes I'm up to 120, depending on if I've eaten something salty or um, retaining water for some reason. I know it's really hot here in South Florida, and I'm drinking a lot, and I'm sweating a lot. I increased my electrolytes just a little bit because it is so hot. That could play a part in it. Again, I'm anywhere from that 115 to that 122, 123 range I'm okay with. And start hitting that 122, 123, I start to, like, maybe I should cut out some of the stuff that I'm, trying to use to keep my plateau or evenness, however you want to call it, uh, to get down to that, back to that 120-ish there. So yeah, again, it's still trying to figure it out because there are no definite guidelines on maintenance. And I know maintenance, not just with GLP-1s, is hard. I mean, look at other diets that we've been on. Some of them have had maintenance plans or programs, but if they would have worked, we wouldn't have gained the weight back and be using these GLP-1 medications like we're using them. So, that's, people just haven't really figured out maintenance. I think that I've seen people I know personally myself. I've been on it since a week or two into January, so basically 6 months, going on 7 months. I know people that have been on it that long, if not longer, and it's very doable with this. Like I said, I'm kind of eating the same. I'm just adding a couple of little things back into the diet, a little bit more carbs. Like 3 times a week, I'm probably eating my little favorite things those Quest or other companies make them like Reese's peanut butter cup, but with less sugar and a little protein, very little, 1 or 2 grams of protein. But most important, it's usually got like 1 gram of sugar or less. And to me, I prefer that taste because I've had the real thing and it was like disgustingly sweet. It was, in that way, I guess my taste buds have changed. And I just don't really like that sweet. Even when went on vacation and I did the ice cream, the first few bites were pretty darn sweet. Don't get me wrong, I got used to it pretty quickly, but I wasn't craving it as much. Yes, I had it on my vacation, and yes, I will continue probably having it on vacation because that's kind of a vacation thing for us. Because again, it's moderation, and everything is in moderation. But those type of things, minus the ice cream, I've added back into my diet to keep it because, it's like when I got down to 115 and I was talking to somebody, I'm like, I dropped, another 2 pounds and I don't know if I want to do it. They're like, ah, there's pizza in the lounge. Just go grab 2 pizzas. Well, I don't want to do it unhealthy. Yes, I'll have pizza once in a while, but or they're like, oh, there's cake in there. I really want cake. It's like, if I want cake, I'll have it. I'll have a little bit, but I didn't particularly want it. And I don't want to use something like that to keep my even plateau. I'd rather it be a healthier choice because I want that to be my lifestyle. You that's just me. I'll do me, you do you. So that is my latest on my updates. Caught you up on the news, a little bit of what's going on in the channel. Winter. There's my email address. Please email me so I can get you your gift card. And I'll be probably having another one in a few weeks. Just keep those comments. About half of my videos now are having the contest. Half of them aren't. Sometimes I'm announcing it. Sometimes I'm not. Sometimes all of a sudden while I'm talking, you'll just see the instructions pop up on the screen while I'm talking. So, keeping people guessing. And so please keep entering. The more you enter, the more chances you have to win. And I really enjoy giving you people the gift cards. So keep it up. I had somebody ask, well, what if I don't want Amazon? If it's anything that we could do via email, I'll change it. I'm not picky with that. It's most people, I don't know too many people that don't use Amazon. So that's kind of why I picked Amazon. Not that Jeff Bezos needs the business, but that's just the way it is. So I'm going to wrap up this live. Hopefully, everybody got a little something out of it. Please, any suggestions, comments, and I want you all to enjoy your day. Stay hydrated. It's hot out there. I don't care where in the country you are. It's hot, or